Hey everyone, this is Kirsten at Poplar Spring Farm, and I want to show you what we've done over the last week. It's taken me a whole week to get this video put together, filmed each piece and put together. We had several interruptions, so I just want to talk for a minute about why we're tilling after 17 years of not tilling our garden at all. And I'm just going to make this really brief. So when we moved here 17 years ago, we had a toddler, and I was I think about 8 months pregnant with our second baby. Woo, got it. And at that time, this was during the crash of '08, and at that time we just didn't have any extra cash or anything like that to buy a tiller. And I had been reading about a different way of gardening with making like putting down newspaper and making layers of grass clippings and leaves and whatever we could find around the place. So we were not able to buy a tiller, and the soil here is it's pretty bad. It's depleted. It's clay. It's not the red clay where we are. It's sort of the more whitish or gray colored clay, at least up here where we've got the garden. And we didn't want to just kind of till up what we had. We could have borrowed a tiller probably at that time, but I was sort of just needing to do something small and simple. And so I started making my garden beds by kind of building on top of the soil. And the more I did that, the more I saw that the earthworms were coming, the leaves and the grass clippings attracted them, and then the soil got really good in the beds that I had made. That year, I think I probably had 6 or 8 beds that were about 3 by, I don't know, 12 or something like that the first year. And then the second year, I just did the same thing because it had worked so well. And at that point, then I had a 2-year-old and a baby. And as the family grew, my garden grew, and we weren't really putting money into doing things for the garden. The garden was sort of to save us money. And so we didn't really want to buy a tiller. But also, I liked my method of continuing to mulch with grass clippings and chopped up leaves, and our soil was just getting better and better. So we just kind of stuck with that. And then I don't know how far in, pretty early on, I started running chickens where the garden was. I'd run them in the winter, like just put some temporary fence around the garden and fill it with leaves. The little kids would help me, and we'd just rake leaves from all over, and we'd fill in I think we may have used electric netting at some point to keep them in, and then we had gotten some wire that we could just kind of put up temporarily. So we kept the chickens in the garden for the winter, filled the pen with leaves, and then we'd take the chickens and run them on the pasture during the summer. And because of the deep bedding, the manure wasn't too thick, and it just grew really good vegetables. So I stayed with that method for years and years. We've been here 17 years, so I've been doing that like that for years. Our family is now, we have 8 kids, so we're a family of 10, and we grow a lot of food. We really don't get very much stuff at the grocery store. I haven't bought produce in years. We do a lot of canning. We produce as much as we can, and so I just need a bigger garden space. So last year, we cut off the end of the goat field over there, which I do have some videos from last year that I showed what we did. We had brought a whole bunch of hay from one of our goat sheds and had mulched the whole area. Well, not the whole garden, but everywhere where we were going to grow stuff. I mulched that, and the kids helped me. We mulched that really thick with hay. It had manure in it. It was kind of rotten down. And then we brought in dirt from other parts of the garden where we had good dirt, and we kind of just laid dirt out like that and put our seeds in. We grew butternut squash, pumpkins, and cantaloupe over there, because with that, you know, you can just put your dirt in an area and put your seeds there, and then it could spread out over where we had it mulched thick with the hay. So that worked fine for last year. We didn't get the best crops of, our pumpkins actually didn't do very well. We don't do very well with pumpkins, so that might be part of that. The cantaloupe did all right. I did some little mini pumpkins. They did great. They're easy to grow. The butternut squash did great, but we had brought in quite a bit of soil and kind of built kind of tall beds for the butternut squash, so they had a lot of that to go down in, and they did great. We got a lot of butternut squash, but by the end of the year we had a lot of Carolina horse nettle that had come up in there. If you're familiar with that, it's got like a lot of thorns on it. It's really terrible stuff. It's very hard to get out, and the roots run underneath everything really bad. We had a lot of that. We had a lot of just really bad weeds in there, and that added quite a bit to our garden size. So normally over the winter, before adding that, normally in the fall we would get the whole garden mulched so that nothing would grow during the winter. We wouldn't get, you know, any weeds, that chickweed and stuff like that. We didn't have any of that. And then in the spring, I would just kind of pull the mulch and grass clippings back, and I would just put my seeds in there, and there wouldn't be weeds. So if you have a small enough garden, then that method works great. And the advantage is every year putting down all those grass clippings and chopped up leaves, your soil just gets better and better and better. And so that's what had happened in the original garden, which is like where I'm sitting now. This is where our berries are. And then beyond this, way back there, and we actually have like kind of like two gardens here, because the one even further back over there is what we call the chicken pen garden, because that's where we started. We put permanent chicken wire around there, and we would just always run the chickens in there over the winter and then pull them out. So we'd done that successfully for years. We'd take the dirt out of there because we deep bedded them. So then it made dirt. So we pulled the dirt out of there and then, you know, add it to our beds. And that's, you know, what we've done for years. But adding this new section with the amount of weeds that were in there, and then, so we're a family of 10, and the kids and I are the ones who do the garden. My husband, he's not really gardening. He does all kinds of stuff, but gardening is not his thing. So that's fine, because I love it. So, but that's someone who eats, that doesn't help out here. Now my oldest daughter has a job in town, so she is grown and she eats and doesn't help out here. She helps with stuff because there's lots to do. But what has happened a little bit is the number of eaters is a lot, and you know, it's me and my teenage son helps, but I kind of have a group of middle and younger kids to help me. So I needed something big to replace, you know, I don't know, my daughter's help and the fact that my husband doesn't, you know, help out here and stuff. So the tiller was the answer to that. And so I've got on video, I'll show you. We tilled up the new section, and we've got it all planted now. But I just want to go over a couple things, because some people, if you know me in real life, you probably, I mean, I've never tilled, and so people might assume that I'm anti-tilling or, you know, against tilling. I'm not anti-tilling. It's just not been something that's worked for us in the past. And I am in favor of building the soil. We don't do any fertilizer. I don't want to just plant in the dirt that we have and deplete the soil and then have to feed the plants. So we have it planted over there now. We will be mulching that with grass clippings. I don't think we're going to have enough grass clippings to do the paths, because normally I would mulch the paths, the beds, everything would get mulched with the grass clippings. I don't think I have enough grass clippings for that this year because of the size of the garden, but we are mulching, or we will mulch around all our plants, because we want to keep building the soil. When you put down grass clippings and chopped up leaves and all that, that gives the earthworms something to eat. They love it. They will eat it until it's gone. You got to keep adding grass clippings. But what they're doing is they're making good soil out of all that. Plus it rots down. So the more that you add that stuff, the better your soil gets. That is my method, is feeding the soil, making really good soil. I don't want to just till what we have. And you'll see in the video that because that was deep bedded, part of the soil out there is excellent because there's so much organic matter in it. And I'll show you the difference between where we had that and where it's like real thin. But yes, so we are tilling. I will even till over here. We're just to the point where we have built the beds and built the beds and used the beds for so long that they've gotten kind of compacted, and I want to just break that up. But it's dirt that we have built. This is not the heavy clay with some rock in it that's underneath. That we have like this much dirt in this original garden just from years and years and years of adding the stuff from the barn, from where the cows have had their hay, from where the pigs have had their hay. We bring that stuff up, bring it into the garden. We make our beds out of that. We add it to the beds. We mulch. We mulch with grass clippings. We mulch with chopped up leaves. Not whole leaves, because I find that snakes get under whole leaves. But the chopped up leaves are great. Just continuing to add that has made really good soil. So I'm happy to till that if that's what we need. And that's just kind of where we are with our family and our garden size and what we're trying to grow right now. So I'm gonna hop off of here and get the actual footage of what we did rolling so you can see that. So this is the area that we're gonna be tilling. And we run chickens in here all winter, and we've had them off of here for a couple months now, which is why it's just really full of weeds. It is a mess. So Jim over here is digging up and transplanting a couple things. We have some stuff that came up in here, a bunch of sunflowers. We're not gonna save all those, but he's actually transplanting some potatoes, which is really not normal to transplant potatoes, but I've done it successfully before, so I really hate to till them in. Where they've come up, we're just gonna go ahead and take them and move them to the potato patch. And we've got a few flowers, zinnias, stuff like that. We're just gonna grab them real quick. We have a big compost heap that we're making here, and we're just gonna till around this. We're leaving this here and we're gonna keep adding to it because we'll put the chickens back here next winter, late fall, and they'll be here late fall over the winter. They'll turn all that into dirt. We always make a compost heap and then turn the chickens into it. That's how we do it. So the weeds are real thick over here. It's not great, these have gone to seed, but that's how it is. Definitely needs to be cleaned up. This is where the tomatoes are gonna go, along that side by the peaches. Also our butternut squash and cantaloupe and the cucumbers. I believe that's all we're putting in here. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what this looks like before he starts tilling. This ground has never been tilled. It was woods about 8 years ago, or 8 or 9 years ago. Then we put pigs in here and took pigs out, and it was just sort of a mess. And then if you've seen some of my other videos, you've seen where I've talked about making pasture. Hold on just a minute, hold on. So this is the goat pasture that we made from that huge mess. And across the field over there, that's all stuff that we cleaned up using the pigs and by hand and with the bush hog. And I'm telling you that because 2 years ago, I hope you can hear me over the sound of the tiller coming. But 2 years ago, we chopped off the end of this goat field because we just needed more garden space. And so that's what this was. This is goat field. And now we're turning it into garden. All right, Leroy's got the first tilling done on here, and I want to show you what this dirt looks like. You can see behind me, it's pretty good up here where we put all the hay. So I'm going to show you where it's nice and thick and deep and where the soil is a little thin. Okay, this is the dirt that's really nice. It has so much topsoil, leaves. It's got, I think the kids had dumped a bunch of hay from the barn and the chickens went through it. So you can see it's breaking down. It is not an actual ton of dirt here. It's like top stuff, topsoil, compost, that kind of stuff. And you would have to be sort of careful about planting seeds in this. I think it would dry out really fast. However, this is going to be perfect for transplanting our tomato plants into, because they already have a whole bunch of roots, and this stuff will be great to go around the roots, and we'll plant them real deep in it. So I think we're going to put our tomatoes down this side. This is next to the strawberries, the peaches at the end, peach trees at the end down there. I'm trying to plan out what we're doing. I think that's what we're going to do. I'm not thrilled about having a hill because we run cattle panels for our trellises, the tomato trellises. So we'll have to see if this hill is going to work for that. It's a little hard to see the hill on the camera here. Okay, so that's still in the ground. We are not done tilling. This is just the first time because some of this stuff was still root back. All right, so where the bedding had been super thick, the soil is amazing. It's just incredible. And that's gonna grow stuff real good. Over in this area, I think possibly some of this hay wasn't real old, or what wasn't dumped in here real long before we took the chickens out. So we still actually have a few clumps of hay. Obviously we don't want to plant in that, but you can see here there's just a lot more. This is our native dirt with some of the hay in it. There's a lot of, you can see the clay in there. It's not really that great. Okay, so that's where it's better. I hope it's coming through. You can see it's darker. And then as we move up here, it is like super duper thin because the chickens, I don't know, they liked it over there better, which I think is because we had put more stuff from the barn over there and the kids kept raking leaves and dumping it over there. So over here, I don't really think there was a lot of stuff that the chickens went through. There was a little bit, but mostly this is just the dirt that was here. This, of course, will have to be tilled again. It's not quite deep enough. And I was gonna run the tomatoes on this side. That was my original plan, but I think I wanna put them where the soil's real good over there, because we can all our spaghetti sauce and pizza sauce and all that, and I need a lot of tomatoes. So the other things that we're gonna be planting in here are things that we can kind of make the dirt really good in a few areas where we plant the seeds, like for instance cucumbers. I don't grow a ton of cucumbers because my cucumbers produce really well. So what we'll probably do is we'll grab some dirt. Let's see here. I mean, there was some hay in here. This is not just, this is broken down a little bit, but we'll probably grab some of this dirt from over here that's a little bit better. Got some more of the stuff from the barn in it. Yeah, this is real nice stuff. We'll probably grab some of this, and this is what I've done in the past. We'll just plant our, kind of mix this with the heavier clay over there, and we'll plant our seeds, the cucumber seeds, cantaloupe, and butternut squash. We'll plant in dirt that we sort of hill up, and then if they kind of spread out where the dirt's not as good, that's fine. That is fine for this year. So just wanted to show you, this is the first tilling. I mean, it looks like ready to go right over here, but again, where the dirt is thinner, we definitely need to hit that again. And you know, doing it like this every year, it's better. Like all of this, by the time the chickens get in it, this will even be bigger, and all of that will be turning into dirt this coming winter. So all right, Leroy's gonna hit the tiller again and Get it tilled up some more. It's blistering hot out there. I've been hoeing between the peas and the beans, and it's afternoon. Still got my coffee. Gotta get through the day, you know. But I thought I'd take a break here in the shade of the arbor for a minute and tell you where we're at with stuff. So yesterday, Leroy ran the tiller through twice. He ended up just after lunch tilling for another, I don't know, hour or hour and a half. He really likes tilling, and he's 17, so he's strong and no problem tilling for a few hours. So he felt like he got it as deep as it was going to go and got it mixed real good. We got some more of the underneath clay mixed in with that real light stuff that I showed you yesterday, and that's what I wanted. I needed something a little heavier mixed in with that real light stuff, because that light stuff, it does dry out real fast. So that's good. That's going to be good for planting in. It's very hot today and windy. Both of those things are hard on tomato plants. Both stress them out a lot. So I'm kind of thinking that we might plant this evening after the sun is off the garden here. That's pretty late because the sun sets over that way and we've got fields over that way, so it sort of takes a while for it to get dark. So we'll see. We need rain. We're very, very dry. We have it's just way too dry. Been dry all spring. We're going into summer, just incredibly dry. So that's really not great. But we'll see. We need to get those tomatoes in. They've been sitting on the back deck. So they've been out in whatever weather we have. I started them in the house by the window seat, and then I've had them out on the deck getting full sun and the wind and whatever we have. It's a little protected because it's up by the house, but they should be pretty acclimated. Of course, whenever you transplant stuff, it is a shock to them, but we're going to try to get them in the ground. You might hear the tiller right now. Leroy is trying to hook up the piece that's going to make, I don't know what you call it, but it makes the trough and the rows, and it belonged to Jay's dad, and they welded on, I believe, I didn't really look at it close, but I think they welded on. It's a little bigger than the one I grew up with, and the one I grew up with, it just made kind of a narrow trough and hill, and the one that they have looks like it's much wider. And Jay welds, so I think when he was a teen, possibly he welded. I don't know for sure if he welded that on, but Leroy's bringing it up. Hopefully he got this on the tiller that we're using now, and we're going to go ahead and try to make some paths and some hills and get it kind of set up. So tonight, if it works, we've got to get a cow bred, and we're trying to do some other stuff, but if we get to it, we're going to go ahead and try to get the tomatoes in the ground because it's hot, and I really want to get them started. So he's getting closer. It's getting loud, so I'm gonna cut off it here. We laid out the edge of the bed with the hose. That's how we make straight lines in the garden with the garden hose. It works really great. And then we just paste off where we want the path. I know I keep emphasizing that deep bedding the chickens in the winter and running them with hay and manure mucked out of the barn and piles and piles of leaves is the way. I have said that for years and years, gotten as many people on board as I can. I'm going to keep doing that because you see this dirt. This is all because of deep bedding the chickens and running them through the winter. And this is gonna grow us some really good vegetables. So right now, where we're taking the edge of the bed off, we're moving that dirt over to plant the cantaloupe in. We're putting it where the soil has not been deep bedded and it's not very good. I'll show you where we're doing that. You can see the difference between that dirt that has all that organic matter in it from deep bedding them and this dirt. This was still where we ran them, but this part of the pen only got a tiny bit of leaves, not much. And you can tell the difference. That's why we're wanting to plant in this real good stuff. Well, we're planting the tomatoes out because we're just not getting cloudy, rainy weather like I wanted. So we just need to get these out. We can't keep waiting. So I think we have 42 plants, and I think we can get a little bit more than that in. So we might have to buy a couple plants. And we're doing this first thing in the morning, and then we'll water them. And there's a chance of clouds today, but you see any clouds out there? I don't see any clouds. So we'll see what happens. This is where our cucumber row is, and we'll put a hog panel there. We got that planted and we've been watering that. Down here, we have not planted yet. We're gonna plant this morning. This is how we do our butternut squash. And if you can tell, there are nice big hills. I know the phone doesn't really pick up, well, you can see it a little bit. It doesn't pick up the hills as well as you can see it in real. But this is how we grow our butternut squash on a hoop like this. They're real strong and they hang on fine. So that works. They do better than just growing them on the ground. And we do a whole lot better growing butternut squash for all our pumpkin needs than actual pumpkins. So that's what we do, and any extras that we have, we feed to the pigs. That makes good pig food. All right, so I'll show you from this side. This is our long tomato rows next to the strawberries. 2 long tomato rows, which we'll put cattle panels up. The cattle panels are at the peas right now and they're growing on them. So we gotta wait till the peas are done. Then next to that we have 2 cattle panels hooped over for our butternut squash. The short row for cucumbers up there, which will be plenty. We put up pickles and all, but we plant cucumbers really close and have them go up on a trellis so you can plant them real close every couple inches. And so we have a lot in that amount of space. This is our cantaloupe. And like I showed you, we brought over this real light stuff, which is too light to plant in. It'll be great for roots, but whoop, there is, that needs to be gotten rid of. All right, so we took this dirt from elsewhere in the garden and just put a row of that more dense dirt right in the middle and planted the seeds in that. And then the roots will go down into the leafy stuff. I'm kind of hoping we've got enough grass clippings to mulch all around this. We'll see. Because I like to mulch stuff, keep the weeds down. But that is on this side over by the peaches. Originally I had said I was going to run the tomatoes over here, but then the dirt was not as thick or as deep as I wanted. So the tomatoes are over there. And then this gives us a lot of room for the cantaloupe to spread out, but I'm thinking we got enough room here to go ahead and put our summer squash and zucchini. We don't grow a ton of that. Not everybody in the family likes it, but we grow some and we've got room in here for it. So that I think is what we're gonna do. So this is what it's looking like this morning.